Good morning, and we would like to thank everybody for tuning in to Life Sciences of Washington, How to Eat to Live Facebook channel, Nature's V, Nature's V Autoimmune Disease Foundation YouTube channel. Um, we are here today to review the supplement OU7. We have with us today Miss Jasmine and Sister Trenece Muhammad. Miss Jasmine contacted us through her mother probably 2 or 3 months ago and inquired about some of the supplements. And today we would like to give Miss Jasmine an opportunity to give a review of the products that she used. She, well, Miss Jasmine, why don't you tell us your story and thank you for coming on today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And my story seems quite long. It's been a journey, but I was first diagnosed back in 2016 with ductal carcinoma in situ breast cancer, and it was just in my left breast. And back in May of 2017, I decided to get a double mastectomy. The surgeon told me because I was getting a double mastectomy that nothing further was needed. So I did not do chemotherapy. I did no radiation, and no other further treatments were needed. I know a lot of times women who have breast cancer, they put them on tamoxifen, and that comes with all its other problems. So as far as I know, all was well after I got the double mastectomy done. And fast forward 3 years later, I ended up having my daughter. So about a month after having her, I started having really bad pains on my right side. It literally felt like somebody was stabbing me with a shard of glass. That's how bad the pain was. And that prompted me to go to my primary care doctor, and they sent me in for a CT scan. And the results of that was, I believe it said suspicion of metastasis. And that's kind of when everything just unfolded from there. So I had to find an oncologist. And then once I met with the oncologist, she wanted me to give a biopsy on my liver, as well as do labs and lots of blood work. And unfortunately, it did come out that my cancer was back, now at a stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, because it had spread to my liver. So then, of course, once we found that out, they're pretty quick about things. And I'm like, we need to go ahead, get you started on treatment. She wanted me to do chemotherapy in combination with Herceptin and Perjeta. And I think I made my stance pretty clear from the beginning. And it's like, I'm absolutely against chemotherapy. It's not what I wanted to do. I know people and have lots of family members where it just didn't pan out well for them. So, for me, quality of life was really big and really important to me, and that's just not the route I wanted to go. So my family and we did a lot of researching, and, I wanted to do the holistic route, and we found this alternative clinic in Mexico. So that's where I ended up going. And it was a 3-week process. It was pretty grueling. Even though it was alternative, it wasn't as easy as what it sounds. I mean, I went there 6 days a week. I got intravenous injections of B17, vitamin C. I did the hyperbaric oxygen chamber, enemas. I mean, it was a lot of stuff. And when I got my labs towards the end of my stay, they did tell me that things were looking promising, from the blood work and everything that I had gotten there. But once I got back home, things went downhill really fast. It started where, my stomach was hurting on a daily. At the time, I didn't know, but obviously my liver, it was getting worse. All the lesions and stuff, there was more, they were getting bigger. So I wasn't able to eat anything. And because I wasn't able to eat, I also wasn't able to take any of the herbal supplements and all that stuff that they had given me. And then by December, things had got really bad. I mean, I probably went that month, I did not eat at all. I mean, I took a sip of water and I had ascites, which was fluid in my abdomen, because my liver was failing. I would get, I mean, it literally looks like I was 9 months pregnant. So I had that in there. So any little sip of water I took, I felt full, my stomach hurt, I couldn't eat anything. And it got to the point where my husband and my mom were like, okay, it's time for you to go to the ER. I think at the time I was still fighting that because I already knew, okay, if I go to the ER, I already know what they're going to tell me. You know, you need to go ahead and start the chemo and do the treatment course that we suggested you do months ago. So once I went to the ER, it was a number of things I didn't even know was going on with me. I was septic. I had jaundice. Again, like I said, I was close to liver failure. And then the head doctor of the ER had told me, you know, he was talking to my husband, actually. My mind was completely gone at that point, and which I didn't know that the liver, it's crazy how your body works, how, because my liver was in failure and I had ammonia in my blood, that my brain wasn't functioning properly. So I was out of it. And, you know, like I said, the head of the ER doctor was talking to my husband about hospice and all this stuff. But he said that my oncologist had the last say. So when she came in, she was like, you know, no, we're not doing that. She still has a chance. And she knew I was against chemotherapy. And at that point, I was too far bad to even get it. So I went ahead and she started the Herceptin and the Perjeta. And Mom, if you correct me, I think it's kind of a form of like a targeted therapy.
Right.
You know, chemo, it just gets rid of your bad cells and your good cells. Well, the Herceptin and the Perjeta was supposed to target those cells to help all the tumors in my liver. So I went ahead and I started with that, and it was, you know, coming back from the hospital, I was in there for 10 days, and that was a battle, just trying to come out of that process. I mean, you know, again, I had to get my stomach drained once a week for 3 months. So I was going in there on Thursday, getting my stomach drained, and by Friday night, it looked like I was 9 months pregnant. That's how much fluid I was getting in my stomach. And then I had swelling in my feet, and I had bruises on my legs because of the swelling. I was still pretty weak. So they had a physical therapist that would come in and, you know, I would do at-home therapy. But at that point, you know, it's not like I couldn't hold my baby. I couldn't play with my son. All I could do was just lay on that couch and try and get better. So my my mother was with us, with my husband, and she was a huge help. And those two just had to tackle everything. My priority was just to get healthy. So I would say probably about like April is when we would go on walks. We would go outside, we would go on walks, and, you know, I was trying to get my strength up, and I was able to go up and down the stairs a little bit easier. And at the same time, once I kind of got back where I could eat and everything, and my liver was getting better, I started kind of taking my, you know, my supplements on the side in turn with the Herceptin and the Perjeta. I still wanted to do my natural stuff. So I was like, okay, let me try and combat what they're putting in my body, and, you know, just at the same time, make the outcome even better. So yeah, I would get my blood work done every 3 weeks, which is when I would get the Herceptin and the Perjeta. I get it once every 3 weeks. She would run my blood. She would look at the cancer markers. My cancer markers.
Yeah, it's good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, getting the blood work done every 3 weeks, and my cancer markers were going back down, and they were going into normal range. So everything seemed great. And she did let me know, though, that the Herceptin and the Perjeta that I was on, there was going to come a time where it was no longer going to work. And she just said, you know, cancer is smart. It learns to adapt. We don't know how long it's going to work, but we'll ride it out until then. You know, and I was starting to do more rigorous exercise and getting stronger. And by October in 2020, I noticed I was having a lot of dizziness. It would just hit me throughout the day. And when I told my oncologist about it, she seemed worried because she says that breast cancer, it likes the brain. You know, at this point, I'm stage 4. It's already traveled to my liver. So they had me get a brain MRI and found out that I had 3 lesions on my brain. which we were pretty shocked about because, like I said, they were running my blood work and my cancer markers, and they were in normal range. And unfortunately, she says you can't. I mean, as far as the brain, the only way you can determine that is through a brain MRI. It's not going to show up in the blood work, and it has to be something like I told her, I'm having dizziness a lot and headaches. So once that happened, again, everything moved pretty quickly. I met with the radiologist. I decided to do radiation on my brain, and I got it in those 3 spots. I had 3 treatments, and we waited a couple of months, I believe about 2 or 3 months before I saw him again. And when I saw him, he told me that usually people don't respond as well in their first treatment as I had. So those lesions that I had decreased so much that they couldn't even measure them. So I mean, for us, that was a win. So that's one thing down again. And at that point, we knew, since it was in my brain, that the Herceptin and the projector was no longer working. I did that for about a total of 9 months. So that was no longer working. So she wanted to come to the drawing board again, which I knew she was going to say. What I didn't want to hear was, okay, you already finished this first line of treatment. Now we need to go to chemotherapy. And shortly after, I did get a PET scan as well. And when they did the PET scan, we had already done the brain MRI and determined I had the 3 lesions. And the PET scan also showed that I had cancer that had traveled to my spine and my bones. So meeting with the doctor, she did recommend chemotherapy. And I felt like my back was kind of in a corner at this point. And I'm like, well, I don't know what I can do naturally that's going to help. So at this point, I'm like, I felt like I had to just go with the chemo. So she didn't want to wait too long before the next PET scan. We want to make sure that, you know, this chemo that we're doing is actually working in my body. So just as of March of this year, 2021, I did get another PET scan done. I had already done 5 chemotherapy treatments. And then when I got my PET scan done, she called to tell me that I was responding very well to treatment, and that I was, all of the lesions and the tumors that I had in my body were untraceable, and that I was in remission. And I mean, every doctor we've kind of been meeting, they're always saying your circumstance is just not heard of. You know, my husband's always like, you know, I don't understand why they're saying that. Are they saying that because you're so young, or are they saying that because you're kind of like beating all the odds of what they would expect in a short period of time? So I think what helped with that is I started taking the IB100 and the IB19. I started taking that in January. Now, it was probably right after my 4th treatment or before my 4th treatment. With the chemo, I was completely wiped out. I had, all the symptoms you would get. I had the nausea, I had the fever, I had the body aches, chills, and I was extremely fatigued, like to the point where I felt like I needed to take like 3 or 4 naps a day. And I noticed that once I started taking Nature's V supplements, that my energy, it was crazy. It's at 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm like looking around like, I feel great. I feel like I have energy. And I felt like my symptoms were less severe. You know, the body aches weren't as bad. I was taking nausea medication probably for like 4 days after I would get chemo. And after, just because in my mind, I don't want to be nauseous, so let me just take it just in case. I was cutting it down to like 2 or 1 day that I would take it. And I was actually feeling good. So in my mind, I do feel like that helped me to get to the results quicker. And Mom, I don't know if you want to add anything that I may have missed.
Yeah. I know before when I had found out about Nature's V, I found out through a dear brother of mine who is like family to me. And he told me about it. And I immediately, without hesitation, was like, okay, we got to get this. And once we got it, my daughter, who is definitely, not the type where if you say, oh, take this, do this, she's going to research it. She's going to find out why. She's going to find out what it affects, what it does. So upon reading on some things, she read that it could, hurt her liver again, which she was paranoid, which is rightfully so because she had been through so much at that time. But when I ordered the Nature's V supplement, she didn't take it right away. And, she still was feeling so nauseous and so sick and so lethargic from the chemo. And I just told her, like, look, I understand your concerns, but at least give this a try. It can't hurt anything. And so she started taking it. And, I would every night I'm asking her, because I had been with my daughter. I live in California, and I had been with my daughter in Maryland for probably about a year when everything started happening. I dropped everything. I was there to help her and my son-in-law and my grandchildren. And once she started taking the supplement, I'm talking about probably like within a week that she started taking it, I saw dramatic results. I mean, to where she was lying on the couch and, me and her husband was having to take care of the children and, feed them, put them to bed because she just didn't have the energy. So when she started taking the supplements, I mean, immediately, like she said, she was up. Come on. She was encouraging me. Come on, Mom, let's work out. We got to work out. We're going to work out today. And I'm looking at her like, who is this person? Because it was such a and I'm not exaggerating. It was such a dramatic change that, she was up in the middle of the night, her and her husband painting walls. I'm like, what is going on? But it made me so happy. And I brought it to her attention. I said, do you realize you have a lot more energy and you're doing, and she was like, yeah, I have noticed, and it was like, it was such a dramatic change. And I really, truly believe in my heart that God guided me in that direction to where I came across this brother who told me about Nature's V, who had me talk to you, that I believe this has helped her dramatically. So dramatically that I got some for my mother who has one kidney. And she, during the pandemic, she had got pneumonia and, she wasn't feeling that well. And so I told her, Mom, you gotta try this. She's like, I had to stop taking it at night. I had to take it during the day because I couldn't sleep. I had so much energy, I couldn't sleep. So I just, take it during the day. And my mother, praise be to Allah, my mother just turned 80 years old, February 26th. And if you saw my mother, she doesn't look like an 80-year-old. She gets around, not like an 80-year-old that you would think in your mind. She has energy. She looks good. I pray that I make it to be her age and have the energy that she has. But with Jasmine having that clean PET scan, I already knew in my heart that it was going to be a good outcome because we had so many times where every time we were waiting for some news, it was bad. But it was such a great outcome. I'm telling you, it was amazing that, I called you, I called the brother that recommended me to you. I was on the phone with everybody. Like, no, this is like the truth. Like if people would just give it a chance, it could change your life. Because I saw my daughter from when she said that she was in the hospital, she was delirious. She was out of her mind. We had been trying different supplements. And some of these supplements I know helped her, like with the ascites that she had in her stomach, the fluid that she had in her stomach. But after she was off from the Herceptin and the Perjeta for about 6 weeks, 8 weeks?
Yeah, 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks. That's when the cancer came back even stronger and attacked her brain, her bones, and her spine. So, at this point, you're thinking, okay, I mean, like, I know you say you don't give us more than we can handle, but oh my goodness, it was a lot. So, just for seeing her after she took the Nature's V supplement in her energy, she's always, through the whole thing, she's always been positive, which is a huge key for anyone dealing with sickness. Your mindset is a huge key. And she was always strong, always positive. But with that Nature's V supplement, I truly believe it changed her life. It helped in the positive result that she got. And I mean, anybody that I come across now that are dealing with some type of illness or illness, I always tell them about the supplement. Like, you have to give it a try. It is natural. Like, why not? If you're going to be willing to give these harsh chemicals a try, chemo and radiation, and why not give this a try? So, I mean, we are very grateful. I know, me as a mother, I'm very grateful to see my daughter pretty much come back to life.
Thank you very much. Miss Jasmine, is there anything else that you want to say?
I think, just to piggyback off what my mom said, I think that's the greatest thing, is to not, you're going to have that fear of, okay, well, is this going to help? Is it going to hurt? I mean, but like she said, if I took that leap to do chemo, then I certainly, I had that hesitancy, but I'm like, what could I lose at this point? I mean, feeling the way I was feeling. And like I said, the biggest reason why I didn't want to do chemo in the first place was because of quality of life. That's what matters to me. What good is it if I'm here, but I'm not really here, and I feel sick, and I can't do anything with my kids, and I can't even get off the couch, So, I mean, for me, I am so happy that my mom found out about this supplement, because I do honestly feel like it has changed my life, and I will continue to take it. And I think it has brought me to the point where I'm at now. So.
Yes, definitely.
Well, we thank you. We thank you for sharing that with our viewing audience. We thank you, Sister Trenece, for allowing us to help and having confidence in the supplement made by Victor Muhammad at LSOW, distributed by natures-v.com. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's one of those days where you just have the big grin on your face.
Like, we've been, ever since we got that result, we've been
Uh,
having grins on our faces. Like, and I do want to say one more thing, Brother Eric, is that
well,
we were so thankful that Brother Victor Muhammad took time out of his day to answer all of her questions, all of her concerns. It was like uplifting, more, it was more validation, like, okay, this is what we have to continue to do. I mean, this is not just some man saying, hey, I think this will work, hey, I think you should try this. This is someone who knows, who has been in the trenches, uh with research of cancer and different stuff. So I mean, it was like, why not um give it a chance if you got the person who is behind it all, like, telling you his experiences and his research and the things he's done. I mean, so we definitely thank him for taking his time out of his busy schedule to answer all of our questions and our concerns. It was much appreciated.
Absolutely.
Did we lose him?
I'm not sure.
my chance to come back. Oh, there he is. We lost you for a minute.
Yeah, we have when you're at war with Satan and you're using Satan's tools, he has the
That's
opportunity to do whatever he wants.
right.
But you
That's
know what they
true.
say. We're taught that God came. He left someone to help us. He left someone to help us, and now we have to help ourselves. And all of us will have to go down this road. And now we're standing up to do that in light of all that is taking place. So no path
Right.
is going to be easy. It will be. We must trust in one another. We must begin to look at one another as the sources for the answers, because we have been taught that those answers are going to come from someone who looks like us, for us, and we already know that. We've tried everything else, and none of that has gained us what we need. So
Right.
I just want to end with this. What is your prognosis now, Sister Jasmine?
My current prognosis is that I'm in remission. And
Oh,
yes, I am in remission despite all that I have been through and everywhere that it has spread through my body. When I got my scan, they could not trace it.
and what was your doctor's response to his when he took the test and he got them back and he looked at them and he looked at you? What did you see in his face or her face?
Yeah, well, actually, she called me over the phone, but she sounded surprised, and she said that she's like, "Yeah, you responded very well to treatment," and my doctor wasn't aware though that I was taking this supplement. I'm doing my stuff on the side, so she knows some of the things, but she didn't know that. So I'm sure in her mind, she's like, "Oh, okay, the chemo got her to this point." So I'm sure she believed that, but in my heart, I know taking this supplement is what helped me. Because just like I said, from feeling as terrible as I was after each round of chemo, and it took me so long to bounce back. It would take a week, 2 weeks. I never knew how long it was going to take before I felt like myself. And as soon as I felt like myself, it was time for the next treatment. And then when I started taking the supplement, I'm like, wow, I feel great. Like I feel like my old self, and I was up and going. So
Right.
Well, the purpose for the OU7 is to help people of your diagnosis, and also to help people who have decided to go your way of treatment to recover from that type of treatment. These are all referee journal understandings of the protein that is which the supplement is made from, except for the way that this protein, natural protein, has been produced by Mr. Victor Muhammad. It is the perfect complement to the body's ability to heal in a homeostasis environment. So we thank you. We don't want to tax you. I know you got to go run around the corner or something, get your exercise this morning, so we'll give you that time back.
Right.
We thank you, Sister Trenece, and we thank you all for tuning in today. You can find us at natures, NATURES -V.com. You can also find us at NVADF.org, which is Nature's V Autoimmune Disease Foundation for Women of Color. We'll be getting back to you soon. We thank everybody. May God continue to bless you both with success. And we'll talk to you soon. And we give our listening audience the greetings. Have a wonderful day, and thank you.
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.